My 8-year-old daughter was lying in a hospital bed fighting to breathe, and at the very same time, my parents were busy taking my sister's kids on a Disneyland vacation. The message my mother sent me that day is something I'll never forget. She wrote, "Those kids need our attention more than your daughter right now." I didn't argue. I didn't reply. I just made one quiet decision and removed them from my life completely. 3 days later, my sister was standing outside my house, crying and begging me to undo what I had done. I never imagined I'd become someone who would cut ties with their own parents. But everything changes when you're sitting in a hospital room at 3 a.m., listening to machines beep while your child struggles behind an oxygen mask. In moments like that, you suddenly understand what truly matters. But I'm moving too fast. Let me start from the moment everything fell apart, from one simple text message that shattered the image I had of my family forever. My name is Claire. I've always been the responsible one in the family, the calm daughter, the peacemaker, the one who showed up, helped everyone, and never created problems. My younger sister, Rachel, was the complete opposite, yet somehow always everyone's favorite, the one who could never do anything wrong in our parents' eyes. Everything began on a Tuesday. My daughter Lily had been sick for days. At first, we assumed it was just another seasonal cold, but her condition suddenly worsened and doctors diagnosed her with pneumonia. Within hours, she was admitted to the children's hospital. My husband, Derek, and I barely left her side. We took turns trying to rest in that stiff hospital chair, afraid to fall asleep in case she needed us. I messaged my parents to tell them what was happening. My mom replied, "Oh no, hope she gets better soon." That was all. No offer to help, no questions, no visit, just silence afterward. The next night around 2 a.m. I was scrolling through Facebook, because sleep isn't possible when your child is struggling to breathe. And that's when I saw it. Photos. So many photos. The photos showed my parents at Disneyland, smiling beside Rachel's kids, 10-year-old Mason and 7-year-old Harper. They were all wearing matching Mickey Mouse ears, laughing like they were part of a vacation advertisement. Tell me honestly, would you have reacted differently than I did? I stared at those pictures for nearly 20 minutes. Behind me, Lily slept in her hospital bed, each breath slow and strained. The quiet rhythm of medical monitors filled the room while tubes and wires surrounded her tiny body. And meanwhile, my parents were riding roller coasters. The caption under the photos read, "Creating magical memories with our beloved grandchildren." I didn't call them. I didn't send a message. I simply locked my phone and went back to gently running my fingers through Lily's hair, reminding myself that she was the only thing that mattered in that moment. The next morning, Derek arrived carrying 2 cups of terrible hospital coffee. I showed him the pictures without saying a word. My husband, the calmest, most patient man I know, someone who never criticizes anyone, just stared at the screen, his jaw tightening. "They couldn't even wait until she was home," he muttered quietly. But things somehow got worse. Later that afternoon, Rachel texted me, not to ask how Lily was doing, not to check if we needed help. Instead, she sent a photo of Mason posing with Buzz Lightyear. Her message read, "Mom and Dad are amazing. This trip must have cost them so much." I replied with one word, "Nice." A few minutes later, another message appeared, this time from my mother, and that message changed everything. "Claire, I know you might feel hurt that we went to Disneyland, but Rachel's children need our attention more than your daughter right now. Lily will be fine. Childhood memories don't last forever. You should try not to be so selfish." I read those words once, then again, then a third time, hoping I had misunderstood. I handed the phone to Derek. "You've got to be joking," he said, his voice rising before he noticed a nurse glance toward us. He lowered his tone, disbelief still written all over his face. "Is she serious right now? Think about that moment. Your child is connected to machines in a hospital bed, and your own mother calls you selfish. What would you do?" I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I didn't respond at all. But I made a decision right then, one that would change everything. Because there was something my parents didn't realize. there was something my parents never truly noticed. For the past 3 years, I had been quietly doing something for Rachel, something that made her entire life easier. And as I sat beside Lily's hospital bed that night, watching her slowly fight her way back to health, I realized it was time to stop. To understand why, you need to know what growing up with Rachel was like. She was the youngest, 5 years younger than me, and everyone treated her that way. Being the baby of the family became her lifelong advantage, and she knew exactly how to use it. When Rachel got pregnant at 19 with Mason, my parents immediately stepped in. They paid her bills, helped raise the baby, and made sure she never truly struggled. 2 years later, when Harper was born, the same thing happened again. Meanwhile, I followed every rule. I worked hard, earned my college degree, built my career, married Derek when I was 26, and waited until we were financially stable before having Lily. I did everything the right way. Yet somehow, I was always the secondary priority. Rachel rarely kept a job longer than a few months. Whenever things fell apart, my parents covered her rent, bought groceries, and filled every gap she left behind. And me? I was considered fine. I had Derek. I had a stable career as a nurse. I didn't need help. At least, that's what everyone assumed. But that week in the hospital, I realized how much I actually wished my parents would simply show up for me too. What none of them seemed to recognize was the role I played behind the scenes. Rachel suffers from fibromyalgia, a condition that causes real pain and exhaustion. But managing the systems meant to support her required patience, organization, and endless paperwork, things Rachel simply couldn't handle. So I handled everything, every application, every renewal form, every medical document, every appeal, for 3 straight years. The process was overwhelming. Stacks of forms, deadlines, doctor confirmations. Easily 5 hours of work every single week. Because of that effort, Rachel received nearly $2,000 a month in disability benefits, along with food, assistance for her family. And suddenly, sitting in that hospital room, I understood something. All of it depended on me. That Wednesday, while Lily finally began showing signs of improvement, an email notification appeared on my phone. Rachel's benefit recertification deadline was approaching. 2 weeks left. Normally, I would have already started preparing everything. This time, I moved the email into my archive folder and did nothing. On Thursday, Lily was strong enough to be transferred out of intensive care. My phone kept vibrating nonstop, messages from friends asking how Lily was doing. Derek's family offering to bring food, help with errands, anything we needed. But from my own parents, nothing. The only update I saw from them was another cheerful Facebook post, more smiling pictures from Disneyland, more captions about their perfect family vacation. By Friday, Lily was finally well enough to come home. Walking through our front door with her felt like exhaling after holding my breath for days. That evening, my phone rang. Rachel. Hey, Claire, did you see the notice about my benefit renewal? I can't find the email, but I know it came through. I already knew exactly what she was talking about. Oh, she said quickly, relief in her voice. Good. So you've started working on it? I paused. No, silence filled the line. What do you mean no? She asked, confusion turning into panic. I'm not handling it this time, Rachel. But you always do it. I don't even understand those forms. The last time I tried, everything got rejected. Then you'll have to figure it out, I replied calmly. Or maybe ask Mom and Dad. They seem to have plenty of time for you. This isn't funny, she snapped. I need those benefits. My kids need food. I repeated her words slowly. The kids need food. Then I asked, did you ever tell Mom and Dad that Lily was hospitalized? Claire, that's different, she said defensively. No, I answered quietly. What I wanted was for Lily's grandparents to actually care that she was sick. There was a long pause. Then Rachel started crying. You're taking this out on my children because you're mad at Mom and Dad. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm just exhausted from always being the one who helps everyone else while no one shows up for me. If you want the paperwork done, I added, do it yourself or ask our very generous parents. And then I ended the call. Derek looked up from across the room. You okay? I honestly didn't know how to answer. That night sleep wouldn't come. Part of me felt guilty, those benefits helped feed Mason and Harper. But another part of me remembered sitting in that hospital room for 4 endless days, while my daughter struggled to breathe, while my parents stood in line for roller coasters. And that part of me felt completely justified. By Saturday morning, my phone exploded with calls and messages. First Rachel, then my mother. Her text read, Rachel is extremely upset. She says you're refusing to help her with something important. What's going on? After everything, after ignoring Lily, after calling me selfish, after choosing Disneyland over their sick granddaughter, she still had the nerve to ask what was wrong. I replied to my mother's message with a single sentence. Right now I'm focused on my daughter getting better. I'm sure you understand that children need attention. I used her own words. Was it petty? Maybe. Did it feel satisfying? Absolutely. But what happened after that completely changed the situation. Early Sunday morning, I woke up to my phone lighting up beside the bed. 17 missed calls, all from my mother and Rachel. Derek was already awake, sitting with Lily in the living room, guiding her through the breathing exercises the hospital staff had taught us. Your phone hasn't stopped ringing, he said softly. I checked the voicemails. The first few from my mom sounded irritated, asking why I wasn't answering, accusing me of making things harder than they needed to be, insisting Rachel urgently needed my help. But then the tone shifted. The final voicemail left at 6:47 a.m. stopped me cold. My mother was crying. Claire, please call me back. Rachel's benefits are about to be canceled. She could lose everything. The kids won't have food. I know you're upset with us, but don't take it out on innocent children, please. For a moment, guilt tried to creep in. But then I remembered her message. Those children deserve more attention than your daughter. I put the phone down, and I didn't return the call. On Monday afternoon, I was helping Lily catch up on homework she'd missed during her hospital stay when someone knocked on the door. I glanced through the peephole, Rachel, and she wasn't alone. Mason and Harper stood beside her, backpacks hanging from their shoulders, both looking confused and tired. Was it fair to bring the kids along, knowing it would make saying no almost impossible? I opened the door. Claire, please, Rachel said immediately. Her eyes were swollen, her voice shaky like she hadn't slept. I've been trying to complete the paperwork myself, she continued. I've spent 2 days on it and I keep making mistakes. They're saying everything could be cut off by Friday if it isn't submitted properly. She let out a bitter laugh. I asked Mom and Dad for help, she added. Dad said he doesn't understand government forms. Mom tried for an hour and gave up. And for the first time, Rachel looked truly helpless. Rachel wiped her eyes and said quietly, They told me to hire someone to handle the paperwork, but Claire, I can't afford that. That's why I need the benefits in the first place. Before I could respond, Mason tugged at her sleeve. Mom, why are we here? I thought we were going to the park. My chest tightened. The kids had no idea what was really happening. Rachel, I said firmly, you need to go. Claire, please. You brought your children here hoping I wouldn't be able to say no, I interrupted. That's not fair, even for you. Her expression collapsed. I didn't know what else to do. You're the only person who understands this stuff. Maybe that should have mattered before you and Mom decided Lily didn't. I closed the door. Through it, I heard Harper's small voice asking if Aunt Claire was angry at them. My hands trembled. Derek stepped beside me. That couldn't have been easy. It wasn't, I admitted. But what happened next, none of us expected. Tuesday morning, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. Is this Claire Morrison? A professional female voice asked. Yes. This is Janet Reeves from the County Benefits Office. I'm calling regarding Rachel Patterson's case. Our records show you've been her authorized representative for the past 3 years. My stomach dropped. Yes, I said carefully. We've received several incomplete renewal submissions from her. I need to confirm, are you still managing her case? This was the moment. I could step back in or finally step away. No, I said. I'm no longer responsible for her paperwork. There was a brief pause. Understood. I'm required to inform you that if proper documentation isn't submitted by Friday, her benefits will end. Then she hesitated. There's another reason I'm calling. We've noticed irregularities in previous applications.